Had a hard time with this speech, preparing for it. It brought me back to that bathroom. Those beige tiles, and I've got my hands there. I'm fighting back tears, and I'm bent over this sink, and there's blood dripping off the end of my nose into the basin. And I can hear him, he's shuffling behind me. And I peer over my shoulder, and I've got a tissue scrunched up in my hand trying to stop the blood. And I say to him, "Why are you doing this to me?" And he said to me, "You deserve to be hurt." Did education, did a textbook teach me how to deal with that? No. You see, I thought about life situations, and that was the first thing that came into my head. I thought to myself, no, nothing that teachers taught me ever taught me how to deal with any of that. I don't think I like this. I don't know how I'm going to stand in front of you and tell you that education is the ability to meet life situations. First thing that pops into my head when I think of education is school. That long life career you have until you actually get paid to do something. Textbooks and timetables and teachers who inspire you about subjects that you'll love for the rest of your life and then ruin the other subjects. That stuff that you get from education, this stuff, how is that going to help me with this? And so my knee-jerk reaction was, I can't do this. And then I took some time to reflect. And my reflection was, maybe there's a purpose for these endless notes I scribbled down for 5 days a week. Maybe there's a purpose for the teachers telling me stuff. And that's because education isn't stuff only. It teaches you a process. And I say that process is three main things. The first one is being able to identify what you don't know and having the courage to start figuring out the answers to it. Then it's taking things from unknown to known, the actual learning process of education. And then lastly, and most importantly, is when you do not know the answer to something, to reach out for help, for someone to help you find those right answers, because you know you can't do it by yourself. And so I thought to myself, okay, if that's my new definition of education, let's take a look back at that evening. You see, it was a couple of years ago. It was after a work do, Christmas do. Everyone was pretty merry. And a big group of us went back to a colleague's hotel room to carry on listening to music, to carry on enjoying myself, including my 6'3" manager. And it was at that point that he was very drunk. He got very handsy with me. The first time I fell over. The second time he pushed me off the bed. The third time, I had a bloody nose. That's what brings me to that sink. And I got home in the early hours in the morning. I didn't know what to do. I did not know what to do. What are my rights in this? Was that a crime? Do I go back to work? I called my boss. I told him what happened. He told me to come back to work. I'm sure it was a mistake. I called the police. I asked them what I should do. And I knew I had a choice to make right there and then. I could do what I knew, which was go back to the office tomorrow morning and get on with my life. Or I could do what I really didn't know, and I was absolutely terrified of doing, which was taking the leap and standing up for myself and fighting that this is not acceptable behavior, not in my life. And I did that. Has anyone here actually read the employee handbook? You know, the one that you sign when you do your employment contract. Yeah, I read that cover to cover, and I still couldn't find the answers. And it was at that point that I looked through Facebook, and I found I have a very useful friend who's an employment barrister. And I messaged him, and even though he was on holiday and it was over the Christmas period, he took my phone calls and he helped me. He told me, this is what the employment law is. This is what your entitlements are. This is how you're going to protect yourself. His help was so invaluable, and I got a hearing. I had my CEO, I had the board of directors, I had the person who was overseeing it, and I had someone come and coach me on how to build my argument. And I was a bit of a mess at the time, not going to lie. Fear and does terrible things to your brain. But I fought. You're probably wondering where I am now. Well, I definitely did not go back to that job. I did not go back to that job. In fact, I spent several grueling months, including having a skiing accident. So I was at home, had my leg up, I was still waiting to get into the NHS, I was in a lot of pain, and I didn't know what was going to happen. But you know what? I'm so grateful that I fought. And so I'm in a job now that I love, I get to do things that I love, and I would have never done it if this hadn't pushed me in that direction. I wouldn't have done. Is education the ability to meet life situations, I still ask myself? No. No, it's more than that. It's so much more. Education, the process, helped me to figure out what I didn't know. It helped me to get that information, and it helped me to go and find the right person to ask for help. But the thing is, as humans, we are afraid of the things that we don't know. We're afraid of death. We're afraid of danger. We're afraid of not knowing the right answers and what to do. So it's so much more than an ability to meet life situations. It's about conquering fear. And that is what this helped me to do. Conquer my fear. Thank you.